go ahead and get started. Okay, here's our outcome for today. You're going to create 3 learning opportunities and or assessments for pretend for students to evaluate and create using the knowledge and skills of stage 1. You're learning, developing, and or demonstrating, okay? And it's going to be modeled, obviously, after the constructivist theory. So, first thing I want you to do is think about these 3 questions. What does teaching and learning mean for the 21st century? What does taught mean today? And how do we know it is good? Think about those 3 questions and then talk at your table.
One thing that's funny is when I've taught the intro to backward planning classes and we talk about stage 3, we kind of, it's kind of like the teaching and learning cycle, and I have such a hard time saying the teaching cycle but I guess you are still, so I just providing learning opportunities, which is such a mouthful.
What did you talk about around the first bullet?
Teaching them to become very cognizant about how they learn, what they're learning, what that level of learning looks like, and be able to articulate that.
Okay, he's talking about metacognition.
What about it?
Thinking about thinking.
Are you saying teachers?
As educators, we're providing students those avenues for them to really think about how they learn, why they learn, the depth of their learning, and what it means to be, how to reach a higher level of thinking.
What does taught mean, Brandon?
I had a hard time with the word taught now because, to me, I flipped my persona to being a student and looking at it through my eyes of, it was the acquisition of new knowledge or the enriching of a foundational skill or a new performance ability. I had to flip it because it could be taught by the instructor, it could be taught by my best friend, it could be taught by a professional in the room. So when I read that, I just flipped automatically to, as a student, what did taught, when I was taught something, the purpose behind it had changed because it's the acquisition of knowledge, which is why we always have taught, is we always taught to give students new knowledge, but I flipped because I couldn't think of it as just one person giving that knowledge anymore.
And also, it's not just about that. It's not about just somebody giving you the information. It's you kind of creating that understanding and that acquiring the skills kind of on your own, in your own way.
And so I think of that rigor and relevance framework and that peak, that we want our students to be able to kind of apply their learning to these unpredictable situations and scenarios. And so there's an authenticity to it and a relevancy to it that needs to come with this 21st century learning and practice.
It's back to that clip of Grant Wiggins where he says he's the soccer coach and he's like, what are you doing out there? And they said, we didn't practice it this way because they couldn't transfer it to the game. So I love that. Okay, finally, how do we know it's good?
Sustainable.
What does that mean?
Well, that it not only it's applicable, I can go do something with it multiple periods in time, and that it's going to have longevity. Yes. That it's going to make some kind of impact for a long period of time, especially with our students looking into their future careers.
Engaging. Meaningfully engaged students.
Purposefully engaged.
Purposefully engaged. Thank you.
Yes.
See, I keep wanting to go to meaningfully. Don't know why.
Well, and you mentioned intrinsically motivating.
Yeah.
Intrinsically motivating. Okay.
Ooh, I like intrinsically motivating.
Thank you.
That was Heather Kuzma.
Heather Kuzma.
Heather Kuzma.
Here's what we're going to have you do next. You're going to create a model that demonstrates the shift in the definition and concept of high quality teaching in the industrial age versus information age. Then in your model, include why it should shift.
We want to see your thinking play out in a comprehensive model. Why do we want to do that? And not only that, but what? Not just think. Create, but also commit. Commit, right? So we can talk, and I put it up here, and it's sort of there, but it's not a commitment yet. Okay. Right? This is a commitment to where we've been, where we need to go, and why.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
Okay? Go forth.
a picture of like a classroom from, the 1930s, and then a series of pictures that represent why that was important. So, going why we're supporting World War II, why people were, doing rations, why people, and so there could be a series of whatever pictures there were that maybe supported why that was.
For efficiency's sake, might it be nice for us just to print, pick some of these and put a common background behind it, like so it looks like a Polaroid or what have you.
Print them.
Teacher-directed instruction.
No.
Creating a snow globe.
No.
I want you to know, though, my daughter, who, again, I will use as an example, this was really cool, by the way. The teacher said, if you choose a high-level Bloom's homework, you only have to do one thing for the whole week, because it's more rigorous, right? And if you choose the low things, you have to do one each night. So she chose that she wanted to do something off the high-level Bloom's. So I go into my office, I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, I'm creating a snow globe. And I said, why? And I don't even remember what it had in it. It was like dogs or something. And she said, because I'm creating, so it's high-level Bloom's, and I only have to do one thing this week, so I'm creating the snow globe. And I said, well, why are there dogs in it or whatever was in there? And I think she's like, well, I'm reading a book about these dogs, and so I'm creating a snow globe about it, which meets the requirement, right? And I said, Meredith, do you understand what create means when we're talking about Bloom's taxonomy? And she's like, well, yeah, duh. I said, it means invent. I said, did you invent the snow globe? Well, no. So, and she said, I invented this one.
Smart.
Yeah, well, Philadelphia lawyer in the making. So in any case, create a snow globe. It was a real thing. But it's because we're going through a moment of confusion about what create means. All right? Create a poster and I guess it's to market a product. Create a 3D animation using CAD.
I had us substitute create for invent. We said no.
And then get rid of using CAD.
Using CAD
So
and then
invent a 3D animation could be.
Could be. I like that. What if a student decided to do that to demonstrate certain world-class outcomes?
Then yes.
Then you're cool with it. And that's what happened in this scenario, by the way. Okay. Science fair board on a science fair project.
No.
That would be for my daughter.
I see those all the time, you guys. Okay. Poster on JFK.
No.
This was one of my favorites. Okay, copying. Okay, I literally saw this in one of our high schools last year. Copying the bolded words from the book and writing the definitions. AP, U.S. government.
Wow. These are all things that we've seen.
All seen. Yeah, we didn't make them up. Spelling tests. Man, we do a lot of spelling tests.
God, I hate
Spelling tests.
But what if it was through an app?
No.
I put that on next.
That's substitution.
That's substitution right there.
All right. Hey, we have that, by the way. Educreations, it's another app.
If the students are using educations to create or to communicate out how they met a world-class outcome, absolutely.
Right, but how about if everybody has to do it?
If
we're all going to pick a famous person,
Yeah, and
No.
we're gonna make
and
it
we're
into
all
a
going to do an
world-class
education on that
slideshow.
famous person
No.
in second grade.
No.
No? Oh,
No.
okay. What if we put a QR code on our education and hang it in the wall so when our parents walk by with their phones, they can watch our educations?
Depends on what they're communicating still.
About famous people. Darn it,
No.
that's the second grade curriculum.
You can put lipstick on a pig, it doesn't make it a lady.
Okay, you guys are kind of harsh. Build a robot to support special needs student who cannot attend school.
Yes.
Yes, we love that one. Drawing alphabet letters in the sand.
No.
What's the name of that special sand? Anybody know?
Magic sand?
It's like different colors and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
must be
kinetic
it.
sand too. Yeah.
Create an investing club. By the way, the student decided to do this on his own. This was not an assignment.
Yeah.
Yes.
He decided to create an investing club and then invited other students to join so they could compare and contrast
Yeah.
their results on the stock market.
Yes.
Oh, that was pretty cool. Math workbooks.
No.
Lots of those. Practice Spanish by speaking to Siri.
No.
Collect unknown plant samples at the botanical gardens. Create the DNA samples from the plants. Get barcodes and identify the plants for the botanical gardens.
No.
That's almost there.
No.
It's just categorizing.
Yeah.
And you don't create a DNA sample, you obtain and extract a DNA sample.
A group of kids say, we want to help the Denver Botanic Gardens to identify some plants that they don't know what they are.
Oh.
And that's where that purpose and authenticity comes back in.
No. These were plants that the Denver Botanic Gardens doesn't know what they are. Like their name tags
Nice.
fell out or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think the other 21st century skills, getting out in the community, those things are what that is about. The actual work.
But I have the cleanest sample. Build circuits from kits using all kids in the class using wires, light bulbs, and batteries.
No.
No, man, those science kids are the death of me. Yeah, all of us science kids go, oh. Okay. Memorize the bones in the body by creating a song.
No.
I listened to the song. It was really good. Jamestown worksheets.
No.
Okay, copy a poem. I have seen this, no lie. Copy a poem to practice my handwriting and illustrate it. It was about evergreen trees. Make posters to encourage kids to donate to Kiva loans in Africa.
No.
You guys are good graders. Okay, write a paper on, I just saw these. They were hung up outside the classroom this week. Write a paper on the top 5 foodborne illnesses. Evaluate samples of various unknown elements. Create a table that organizes them according to their properties. Demonstrate writing skills by writing why we should respect the flag. We talked about this one today. Demonstrate pen techniques. This was an art class by drawing a monster.
No.
No. How could we fix it?
By drawing.
Yeah, draw what you want. Okay. Sell the art you created and fund something philanthropic. This was an art class.
Yeah. Did they
And
get to
does
choose
everybody
their
have to
charity
donate their
they
money?
could go to?
Yes.
Like, could they develop their own art piece however they want it and then choose the charity it went to?
What?
But then
Yeah.
Well-
did you choose that charity? And I also thought of the financial literacy piece.
There's not enough information there to
Yeah.
accurately.
So my question for this teacher was, she was very excited about this, by the way, and it was, what if I would rather sell my art and invest my money and then,
Oh.
right? And then maybe ultimately I would
create a foundation.
Oh.
So do you see where that last part is a little narrow?
Yeah.
Right? It really communicates my value and not doesn't allow you to explore what you might be wondering about.
Right.
So it's close. It's close.
It's like a half highlight.
Multiple choice test over the Diary of Anne Frank. That was Dana's. Now, so we're do you notice what we're doing here? So we started out by asking you what you value. Then we asked you to evaluate based on what you value. So what do you suppose we're going to do now? Okay, so we're going to take it up a notch here. Build a rubric to assess the quality of your formative, interim, and summative assessments. Now, why are we using assessments here when we gave you assignments, etc. on that sheet?
If they're really good, you don't even know that you're being assessed.
That's right. Which a lot of kids, when they're taking a really amazing assessment, what do they think they're doing? Yeah. Well, having fun, but they think they're just doing assignments, right? They think it's an assignment. They don't think it's a summative assessment. So the evaluation here, oftentimes your assessments become what? Because you go to stage 1, this is what I want my kids to be able to do. You go to stage 2, you build out a summative. Then you build out all the formatives and interims that get you there. And what happens then in stage 3? What do you do with all those assessments? You bridge them in.
Yeah.
And oftentimes they make up the bulk of stage 3. Now, if they're crummy assessments, they don't. That's just the facts. If you have multiple choice tests in there, no, that's not going to be a teaching strategy. But a really amazing opportunity for kids to demonstrate their knowledge and skills is often a learning opportunity. So
it's really a focus on the process that the kids are using rather than the product they're creating. So how are the kids constructing their learning and their, I don't want to use the word knowledge, but how are they constructing it through stage 3 to demonstrate that pathway in stage 2? So it's really you, as a teacher, you're looking at the process they're using.
yeah, I have found that when I build a unit that has higher level blooms throughout, including in my assessments, then when I get to stage 3, there's very little I have to add.
Right.
Because my formatives, my interims, and my summatives make up the bulk of the learning opportunities.
Right.
So you know how, for the world-class ed people, as we were kind of looking at the classes and reorganizing how we started with our stage 1 outcome, but then we went right into formative, interim, summative, and those went right into stage 3.
So we're going to kind of mess around in this, but
Mishmash. Or
build
mashup.
a rubric to assess the quality of your formative, interim, and summative assessment. So how many of you have a backward plan you've used with adults? Okay, we're good to go then. So what we're going to do is, the first step is you're going to think about everything we've done so far, and you're going to create a rubric to assess your own stuff. At the same level of rigor you just assessed those. Does that make sense? All right. And then you're going to use the rubric to assess each of the assessments and instructional strategies in your backward plan that you built for adults. Okay?
All right, any questions on that? All right,
Okay, let's do it.
go forth. Create
You
some
can
great
build the rubric
rubrics.
together if you want. You don't have to, but you certainly can work together. And you can even work together to evaluate your plans that you did.
I don't know that we want learner constructs knowledge. I think we want learner constructs meaning.
Does that
Right?
fall
To really-
under one of the criteria
Right.
here? So under sustainable, we can make it one of the indicators, right?
Yes, I agree.
I like that.
Do they also build on their previous knowledge
Yeah.
and then
Yes.
move forward?
Yes.
That's also it's
Best practice in adult learning.
right.
So it's understanding
Do you have a writing
currently,
advice?
here's where I am currently,
That's
how
fine.
will I move?
and moving
Design.
forward there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
This should be one of the components as we're building the process. We should be using higher level thinking within the process, right?
Well, because, yes, what you're saying is throughout the whole time, they should be thinking at a higher level, not just in the summative assessment. They
Right.
should be practicing rigorous thinking all throughout the unit.
Correct.
Or assessing though, we
class
got to
or
go back
whatever.
to think about what ways are we going to make that visible, so that we can assess it.
As part of the interims, you mean, informatives?
We looked at more of, at a sense of when we do PD, whatever school for half day, whatever it is, what are the components that should be within our backwards plans for those trainings?
But you have to make sure you're assessing your strategies, not the components of backward planning.
No,
This
no,
is
no, these
about,
are all
okay,
strategies.
this is about assessing the quality of your assessment strategies and your teaching strategies. That is the heart and soul of what we're trying to get to. We have to get to a common place of, this is a good quality, will make an impact strategy, and this one is not. This one I'm modeling what we want to see in classrooms, this one I'm not. You know, that's where we got to get, so that we can all have that common. There's much more to a PD session, but this is just really, we're doing laser-like targeting on the quality of the actual strategy, whether it's an assessment strategy or teaching strategy. So just make sure your rubric does that.
For our next session, you're building your rubric, then you're going to use it to assess your formative, interim, and summative assessments in a backward plan. Are they having to
And
do
your
this
teaching
too?
strategies.
And your teaching strategies. Are they doing this, or we're just giving them a preview?
That's a preview.
Okay. So those are the things that you have as homework, so to speak. Until
I just didn't want you to change them in the doc and then not be able to do this. So I wanted to show you. Okay.
build your rubric or finish it, then use
Use
it
it
to
to-
evaluate.
A plan that you did for adults before,
Right.
when you taught whatever, and then eventually, if you want to, you can start messing with fixing your stuff.
The only thing you're responsible for
Finish
next
the
time
rubric.
is finish the rubric.
And evaluate your plan.
That's it. Now, if you're a go-getter and you want to do this, you can.
Well, what would happen to me is as I was evaluating some of my things, I'd be like, well, I know exactly what I want to do to that.
That would be
So-
Kara in the back.
Yeah, so I would want to fix that right then. So that's what I wanted to show you.
You are free to go.